All right, we're back. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to try a hands-on demo. It's a little easier when we're in the lab, but we can try this on TV, right? Woohoo. All right, so first I want to switch to this top thing, and I will show you what we're working with. Try and plug the right stuff. So right here I have my Netgear router. Okay. One I showed you before. On the back here, I've plugged this port, the yellow. Yellow port is the WAN port. This is the port I would connect to the internet. Okay? So this one's connected to the internet. We aren't actually going to worry about that one right now. It's plugged in, turned on. There's a button right here. You can hardly see it. If I reset this, if I hold that button in, it'll reset the whole thing to its factory settings. And anyway, we're not going to worry about that for now, though. All right, so there's my Netgear router, and it's plugged in. Then over here, I've got a laptop. You guys can't see it yet. I have to plug it in on the screen. And I'm going to plug in my router, or my laptop into the router, too. So this is in a LAN port. Doesn't matter where I plug it in. These 4 ports are switched ports. You guys know this, right? If I unplug it and plug it back in, I just reset the switching table for that port, and it works, keeps working just fine. So there's my router, and it's all set up. I can tell it's turned on. You can see my 3 here is blinking. That's where I plugged it in, port 3 back here. My little eye is blinking too, blinky, blinky, blink, oops. Yeah, you can't see it blinking, sorry. It's blinking too. For some reason my wireless thing is blinking. The sad thing about these is they're unsecured wireless. And so the minute you turn them on, every Joe walking by with their iPhone will connect to it. And we'll see who connected to it when we get into it. So now let's switch over to my laptop. Is that going to work? All right. All right, so I'm in my laptop now here. Trust me. Let me put my... The way you can tell is because I haven't fixed my font here. Which font did we like? I hate these laptops. For Mac user. PC, is that better? That'll work. Okay, so there is my command prompt. Click and drag. So when did they not, like on a Mac it has the trackpad that you click on the trackpad. Do PCs just not do that? You guys put up with this stuff. All right, I'm going to type in Ipconfig. Right? And Ipconfig tells me, as we saw earlier, what my IP address is. And in this case, you can see here 10.0.2.2, and that's a private range, right? You remember 10 dot whatever is private? There's my subnet mask 255.255.255.0. And here's my default gateway, 10.0.2.1. Now these numbers came in automatically when I plugged it into the router, because the router is set to give me an IP address automatically. We'll use Explorer. If I open up my web browser, and right now the internet is not working, so I'm just going to stop that. And I don't know why it does that. I don't want any of this to happen. Okay. When I go into my address bar, clickety-click, I can type in the number of that server, 10.0.2.1. Okay? This is the router IP address from here, 10.0.2.1. Okay? These routers all have a little web server built in. Okay? So if I connect to that, now it's going to ask me for my username and password. The default for Netgear is admin username password of PASSWORD. You know what that spells? Password, it's all right. Okay, so then I hit OK. Now if your neighbor is still using admin and password, they are inviting. No, they're not. Be nice, don't hack them, please. All right, let me get this stuff up higher. Thanks. Zoom. Control plus. Zoom. All right. So now I'm in the basic settings. So it's this click right here, and I don't need any of that. Let me see if I can. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. I'm not going to scroll down here a little bit. What is that? What? Zoom out a little bit. Sorry. Right. For now, we're not going to worry about here where it says use static IP address. We'll just go down here. There's my primary DNS. We're not going to worry about that either. Actually, what we're mostly worried about is down here. Let me get out here. Let's first turn wireless off. Well, no, we'll leave that on too. Notice here, security options, it says none. That's not a good thing. Let me go down here. I'm going to go over here to which one do I want? LAN setup. And I'm just going to show you where it gets everything. Okay. So I need to zoom in a little bit. Here's the IP address of this router. It says IP address 10.0.2.1. IP subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Okay. Notice this is on the same subnet as me, right? Remember mine was 10.0.2.2. You remember that? Okay. So the router, as soon as I typed this 10.0.2.1 and the 255.255.255.0, it started giving out IP addresses in this 10.0.2 range. It gives them out automatically. So they can, anyway, so people can just plug in their computers. It also means if they connect wirelessly, they can do it too. The next thing up here is use router as DHCP server. DHCP, I'm not going to tell you what it stands for. This is the service that gives out IP addresses automatically. So this is where my computer got this IP address. And notice here it says starting IP address 10.0.2. Notice it's shaded. That's because of the 255s. The 2, that's the IP address I got. The next person on would get 3, then 4, 5, and it could give them away all the way up to 254. Okay? You can reserve them here. That's kind of fun. If you need people to have a fixed IP address on your subnet, you can do that here. And it's funny, more and more of the computers at my house have fixed IP addresses. So my kids want this to be a server or that to be a server. And once it's a server, it needs to have a fixed address. We're not going to fix it though. Oh, notice, by the way, see that MAC address? Gotta know the MAC address. All right, so here's my router. Now what I'm going to do here, just for grins, is we're going to go to the WAN settings, or the basic settings again, sorry. We go up here to the basic settings, and I'm going to get a internet connection. Oops. So if I go up here and let's just do google.com, we notice connecting, it's not going to work. Okay, so we're fine with that. So let me take this plug. Let me show you here. Where's my overhead again? So I'm going to take this plug, the one that's plugged into my yellow port. See, it's a wire. This is no magic here, right? It's a magic trick, right? I'm going to plug this one into the ODU network. I got a plug over here you guys can't see. And now I'm going to go, notice here this is just not working. Now I'm going to go into the basic settings, and I'm going to change this to get dynamically from ISP. Okay? That means it will get the IP address from the server here in Goranto. I also want it to get the domain name server automatically too. Okay? Now we're ready. This is fun. The MAC address, you can use your normal address. Remember I told you these are factory set. So this router has a MAC address built in. You can set it to be a computer because sometimes Cox will fix it to be a certain MAC address that they will only serve. And you can actually just type in the MAC address you need. So there you go. Sometimes people limit it. But here you can change it. So if I hit here apply, with any luck we'll be able to connect to the internet once this is done updating. What's my little guy doing here? Notice my guy here. Where's my guy? Oops. Can't hardly see. Do you guys see my little internet thing is amber? See if it worked. I did it dynamically. Oops. Go to Google now. Come on, baby. It doesn't want to do it. All right, we'll go back here. What if we didn't get an IP address? What happened? Does not like me. Come on, guys. Goranto's hating me these days. That is not working. Look here. Oops. Why is that doing that? Stop. What? 10? Oh, that's wireless. 10.0.2.2. Now it's going to connect my wireless thing. Whoops. Alright, let's look back here. What's the matter? It's still showing. Oh. Notice my guy is still showing amber. This is terrible.
Is that a LAN port you have it plugged into right there, though? On your desk?
Yeah, this should work, though, if it's a real port. Alright, let me try this again. As IT workers, we're used to technology not working the way we want it, right? Oops. Why does that always switch to there? Alright, let's go back to here. See if we can get a real, whoops. Now what's wrong? That's not what I want anyway.
With that on your desk, wouldn't that go into another LAN port on the router?
The what?
On your desk, would it not go into another LAN port on the router?
Now I've just connected the computer into the LAN.
Okay.
It doesn't even work. Hey, does that LAN port even work? On what desk? Like in the floor, yeah. Being advised to try the floor.
It's part of IT work.
I know.
So I started having my kids, I don't remember what I did. Oh, I had to replug all.
That's not even on.
Electrical plugs into the surge protector. And so I was like, handed them this, I'm like, here, plug this, and I had them, they were like laying on the floor, plug them all in for me. And I was like, here's this one plugged in. There's this one plugged in. I don't want to climb under the desk. It's so bad. Yeah, that's why I call her. She's like 6 foot almost.
Oh, what happened?
Ryan is 6'5". He's 15 and a half. I have this little stretching machine and then stretching everything. So I'm not one. So she doesn't know to tell people this. It's really important. People just come up to you and be like, you're tall. So you're like, of course, just a little embarrassed. Of course, my mom, stretch your legs. So we stretch you all this stuff. I just wanted to die. I don't care about that. Just joking so hard. Imagine being
All right, there we go. Okay, so it looks like the network port I was plugging into didn't work, so that was fun. Or maybe my operator helped me out. All right, so here's my lovely Google page. We'll go back to our Netgear router. And notice here I changed my IP address. I have it get dynamically from ISP. And you can see down here, and it's sort of shaded. You can see it actually better on the monitor. You guys see that? So here it's 192.168. Oops, that's not good. .200.184. So this is an IP address on the same subnet that the computer was using. Y'all remember that? So that's fun. Now we're going to take it up a little step, just to be more obnoxious. So I got this router here, and then I have this router here. It's just an older model of the Netgear. I'm going to plug the plug I just plugged in for the internet connection into this one's internet connection. And then I have a new cable here. And I'm going to plug this one from, let's go from port, what port is that? Port 2 here. And then I'm going to take the other end and I'm plugging it into the WAN port here. Okay? So what this will mean is these two routers are now connected. This little piggy goes to my laptop. This one plugs over to here. And then this one goes to the internet. Okay? So back to our laptop. So here we are again. We will now change, because now I need to use an IP address on that other. This is on the white router. I need to use an IP address on their subnet. And I happen to know it's 10.0.1.2. That's all okay. The router is 10.0.1.1. And then here, DNS servers, what does that say there? This is going to be 10.0.1.1. All of these routers have their own DNS that will just forward the traffic on. That makes sense? So it's the same router or the same DNS IP address as it is for the router. So let's apply this here. Oops. Yeah, I'm going to do this like 10 times. You guys should come over and just do it. I should make you do it, huh? Plug this in. Except now everything's plugged in. I know, and you got a computer, huh? Except I ran out and I don't have enough network cables. Yeah, just unplug that thing. We've been unplugging all sorts of stuff. All right, so there's my fixed, and notice here again my router that this computer connected to is 10.0.1.1. And so in theory, I should be able to connect to it from here. I'll first try that ping. You guys remember the ping? 10.0.1.1. And I'm trying to ping this router from this link, just to see if I can get to it. And if we go back, oh, there it goes back. We do get a reply, and it works just fine. We good here? So now what I'm going to do, this is going to get really fun. I'm going to add another tab. This one's going to go 10.0.1.1. Okay. Now I put in a username. Oops, sorry. Username, admin, password of password. Oops, come on, baby. Password. There we go. All right, and you can see maybe WGR16B49 that these are different. These are different routers. Are we good here? Do you guys believe me, right? But right now my Google is messed up. So if I go to Google, it's going to time out. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Come on. Love how the timeout takes forever. Okay, so here's the first. Now we'll configure the second router. What's happening here on the second router is, notice here it says use static IP address here too. But this is the one that's right here. Okay? And so this we should obtain dynamically and get it from the Gornto DHCP server. Okay? So when we switch back here, I need to be able to just set this one to automatic. Isn't this fun? But now,
through the black one and talking to the white one and doing all the settings in the white one.
yeah, now we're going, yes. The laptop is talking through the black one, through the white one, to the internet.
Right, but I mean the settings of it. That's all. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this stopped finally. Let me stop that. Try to apply. Go back here, and we will apply our settings. That ever timed out? Why didn't that time out? Just didn't want to time out. Let's ping Google. Let's see when it comes back up. Yeah, that's not happening. It's not even getting a lookup. Oops. Ah, man, I hate this. So notice here, Google is not able to connect. That's why it's connecting. And we're just waiting for it to do the settings here. And if it works right, oh, there it is. So now we're set. So notice down here, we're back on this one now is 192.168.200. And notice we got a different IP. We got a different one, didn't we? 165, weren't we something else before? Anyway, you can get a different one every time. But now Google works and we're all very happy. And we can type let's see what things will tell me. Great job with your router. Now it'll stop working, right? This one did. Of course it did. Let's see what's going on here. Come on, baby. This is fine. The thing is all blinky blinky, right? So remember last time we had our thing? They need to fix that. And the little internet was all amber. You guys remember that sort of amber color? So it wasn't getting an IP address or something. That's very strange. So I don't know what happened here. We already timed out. Come on. Why are you doing this to me? Oops. That's okay.
Change the DNS in that one as well. Right?
Did I lose my
Yeah.
DNS? Yeah, I got that. If I have the right one on here. 10.0.1.1. It should work. How come it worked for like a second? That works. Yes. See if we can get to that other router. .192, 168, 200, 165. Oops, ping 192.168.200, 165. That was us. No, what was our router number? That wasn't the one I wanted. I wanted our 192, 168, 200.1 is what I need. Uh-oh, we're not making it all the way. Oh, what did you do to me? Is this Windows 7 that does that? It's like if I hover over here, everything else disappears. Is that like some fancy thing that we're supposed to be happy that they do? Look at that. Ooh, look at us. We're doing all this fancy stuff. Where's that one? Yeah, that's the one we want. Oh, what about that tab? Yeah, that tab. Whoa. Alright, what happened? Let's just try this again. Alright, well, let's think about these two routers and what their routing tables are going to look like. So let's flip back. Just sanitize the hands. So I've got the black router. I have a laptop. That connects to the black router. This is WAN. And then we have our white router. Goes WAN to LAN. And this one has WAN, and it goes to Goranto. And we're all baffled of why our internet connection blinked on and off for a second. So our IP address here was, what were we here? This computer is 10.0.2.2. This IP address is 10.0.2.1. This one is that router. And the router was 10.0.1.2. This router is 10.0.1.1. And then some reason this one's wacky, but it doesn't work. This is 192.168.200.165. Okay. So that's just how I set it up. And so I could have gone in and keyed all these in. Some of these we got automatically, remember that? These two I keyed in. So if we take these numbers and say, okay, what is our routing table going to look like? If we look first at the black router, it's going to have port, destination, it'll have a mask, and then what do we care about here? It does just have hops on these. Oh, gateway. Next hop router. Okay. So if we look again, this is the black one. It only has 2 ports. So there's a LAN port, and the destination here would be 10.0.2. And I can just put in X, because that's this subnet here. Okay. 10.0.2.x. The mask here was 255.255.255.0, and that's just what I keyed in, remember? So my IP address is 10.0.2.1. I keyed that in right there, and I put my mask in, and right away the router knew everything was connected here. This next hop router field, it leaves blank. Next up, it knows on the WAN side it's connected to 10.0.1.x, because I put in that IP address here in the WAN port. The mask here was the same size, it wasn't the same mask. So it's 255.255.255.0. And this is directly connected to. So that's this subnet. So there's nothing in the next hop router field. Should I just put that? Because there's nothing there. All right. And then the final entry is our default row. So on the WAN port, with the destination of 0s and a mask of 0s, so that's for this router's default, where does it send things it doesn't know where they go? It sends it to the white one, right? So in the next hop router field, it has that 10.0.1.1. Okay. Let me flip back. You guys get that written down? So just from setting up a wireless router, you'll automatically get these 3 routing table entries. I'm still completely baffled why I don't have an internet connection. Oh, and there it works. So we'll cry later about who knows what went wrong. All right, so let's look at, this was the black router, okay? So notice here, there is, wait, is that the black one? Yes, okay. We're in basic settings of the black router, whoops. I assigned it an IP address, and this is where that 10.0.1 comes from. And notice here, this is where that next hop router of 10.0.1.1 comes from. So that's the next hop router field. And again, internet IP address is like the default, right? The other information about the 10.0.2 subnet is over here in the LAN setup. So LAN setup, IP address here, 10.0.2.1. There's my subnet I was using, and that just tells it this is that whole subnet. That's fun. Oh, that's awesome. Now, if we look at the white router, let's go back over here and make its routing table. So now we'll look at the white router. We now have, again, it's port. We have destination. We have the mask and the next hop router. And the same thing applies here. You should be able to do this as quickly as I do it because you have the stuff right in front of you also. With the port here, for example, if I did, what are we on? LAN port. I know that that subnet is 10.0.1 with a 24-bit mask. And there's no next hop router. On the WAN side, there is a 192.168.200 with a mask of 24 bits. And also a blank next hop router field because we're directly connected. And then finally on the WAN side, we have everything else with a mask of nothing. And that one has a next hop router of 192.168.200. Oops, 165. Doesn't quite fit, sorry. That's awesome. You guys ready to try configuring your router? So that's the router part of the setup. For the wireless clients, just to note, my wireless clients here, for example, on the white network, would also be in this subnet. Because the wireless and wired networks here just bridge. Same with over here. So if I was on the black access point, I would just connect it here. We see if anyone connected to us. Where are we at? Connected. Attached devices. Man. And sure enough, whoever that is, BPA. Oh, 10. Oh, that's me. So there's me. That's me connected. That's fine. Luckily, no one connected. We were doing this downstairs. When we were doing it in the lab in Constant Hall, people were. Are you going to connect? Okay, go for it.
I have a confession.
What?
I'm the reason it wasn't working earlier.
Oh, what did you do?
I changed the settings back to what you had originally.
Oh.
I'm sorry. It was a mean joke. So you.
Oh, you hacked in,
No.
punk. There we go. Okay. What is that here? Oh, 10.0.2.2. Okay. So I think that's good enough. I think we've had enough for today. All right. That will be it then.